Give me some new fast patch, is there? Ooh. Let's head out and have a look. So welcome back, Ghost Hunters. We got some news for you. In light of the most recent Discord poll, we've decided to experiment with being more transparent in writing patch notes when we update the game. Specifics are found in spoiler tags. This way you can enjoy reading patch notes normally and spoiler-free as before, or you can deep dive into numbers and fine-tunings of each update. I am going to read them. So, ghost identities. Some of the ghosts still weren't sitting quite right after our recent overhaul, so we've gone back and made some additional changes to those that were suffering the most. Hashtag justice for Banshee. Hell yes. Demon. Demons have now had their weakness replaced with the Banshees, as it is more thematical and serves as a better counter to their strength. I'm going to look at the numbers. Crucifixes will stop a hunt starting within 5 meters instead of 3 meters. So that was the old Banshee weakness that is now ported over to the Demon. So let's have a look at the Banshee changes. Banshee. Banshee has received a new weakness and new abilities. Weakness. Banshees can sometimes be heard wailing with a parabolic microphone, as we've heard already. The Banshee's paranormal sound has been improved, so maybe, I don't know if that means, that's a bit vague, I don't know if they mean they've improved the sound quality, they've changed the sound to make it more distinct, or they've made it happen more often. Maybe we're about to find out. Singing ghost events will now drain an extra 5% sanity on the Banshee's target. Banshees will only check their target sanity percent for initiating a hunt in multiplayer. So they will only go off their target's individual sanity. That makes sense. That's interesting, that change. So I think that one there is going to make it quite easy to ID then. Ooh, that could be interesting. That's quite a big change actually. It doesn't, yeah, it might not sound big, but I think it is realistically. Because people often do end up with different sanity thresholds. Like if someone's messing around with the cursed objects, or someone's been the van bitch or something else, I think that could change things quite a lot. So if the target never goes in, I guess if you can manipulate who the target is and keep them outside, you can essentially make a Banshee never hunt then, maybe. Kind of interesting. And finally, for the Banshee, Banshees will often wander toward their target when roaming. Wait a second. They're still very weak though. They don't really have the power still. They only just drain a bit of extra sanity. In fact, this actually makes them a lot weaker. This one here. I still feel like the Banshee has not been changed much, to be honest. They basically just had a bit of extra behaviour to make them more easy to ID, but they're still like probably one of the weakest in the game still. That's a shame. I was kind of hoping they would give them a new power to make them more menacing again. This one here I think is huge. I think you'll be able to exploit this one easily as well. I think that's going to make them really obvious to ID in a lot of missions as well. Makes them harder to ID, hunt will start earlier, possibly making it seem like something else. I think that would be a giveaway though, personally. I think that would be a big giveaway, Mandy. I think that will make them much easier to ID, personally. I think you can do a lot of easy manipulation with sanity there. I feel like they still don't really have a big power. Anyway, let's move on. Let's have a look at the shade. So they have actually changed the shade. So we found that some shades are particularly fond of showing themselves early on in contracts. So we've dialed them back a bit to avoid confusion with other ghosts. Shades will have a much lower chance to perform ghost events, returning to normal as average player sanity decreases. I like that. That's a way to make it more subtle. I am a fan of that. That's really good, the sanity scaling, because then early in the mission you might get shady vibes, and then the longer the mission goes on it will get more and more confusing, so I think that's a good way to make them a bit more hidden as well. I think that's a really good change. I am a fan of that. I wonder if that bit at the end about things returning to normal as average sanity decreases could be applied to other ghost powers as well to make them a bit more subtle, because I think that's an interesting mechanic. Be curious to see how that feels in game. So for every 1% average sanity loss, ghost event chances increase by 2%, capped at 100%. Okay. Interesting. So, 100% sanity, the Shade will never do a ghost event, basically. So you can essentially use a candle to keep your sanity up, and you can do some testing that way. Bit of random chance involved, of course. 75% average sanity, 50% chance of a ghost event, and at 50%, 100% chance. Okay, I like that. I think that's really cool. And like I said, I think that could be ported over to other powers maybe with a bit of experimentation. I like that mechanic. That does change things. Let's have a look at the Poltergeist. They have tweaked the Poltergeist. Poltergeist's ability will now reduce the sanity of all players around the ghost instead of just one player. That sounds like a bug fix in a way. So 2% sanity drain per object thrown. So that seems to be just for the ability by this wording. And the ability is the multi-throw, of course. So I'm guessing normal throws won't drain sanity, just the multi-throw here. So if they throw 5 things, you've lost 10% basically. Might be easy to pop out and see if you've got a sanity drain, but on Nightmare it would be more difficult. You'd probably just have to see if you get early hunted or something. Interesting. If you don't notice the multi-throw, of course, happening. If you see the multi-throw, then great, you obviously know it's a Polty. They've changed the Hontu, yet again. Hontus have become the new ghost people love to loop, which is great, because they didn't speed up, did they, with line of sight? So if you kept the breaker on, they were very slow all the time. However, they weren't threatening when they should be. We've given them some speed and ability changes to make them a bit more frightening in the cold. Hontus now have double the chance to turn off the power. I think that's big. There is currently no... we were talking about this before. There is currently no ghost type in the game that interacts with the breaker differently apart from the Djinn. Because the Djinn will never turn it off, but now we have the Hontu turning it off more. But I think what also would be good is to give the Mare the same thing. Because if you notice the breaker going off constantly, I guess it's kind of obvious it's the Hontu. If it's a double chance, that's quite big. So I think this could also complement the Mare's power if you gave it the same thing and make them both a bit more hidden. So maybe I'd quite like to see this ported over to the Mare as well. And the Hontu will now show their breath in room temperatures of 3 or lower. So now basically any ghost room, you will see their breath, yeah, essentially. Because sometimes it does dip below 3, doesn't it? Cool, so Hontu maximum speed has been increased. They're now more scary. So, and we'll change speed between smaller temperature brackets. Okay, so essentially they're going to get more acceleration. So 15 degrees and above is 1.4 meters per second. I don't recall the player speed, so those numbers would have been good here to compare. And 1.4 meters per second is when they're 15 degrees and above. 1.5 for 12. 1.65 for 9. 1.8 for 6. Okay, it's getting a bit more exponential. 2.2 for 3 and 2.5 for 0 and below. Does anyone recall the speed of like a Raiju and a Rev? Because I think this is a bit slower than a Rev, but maybe a bit faster than a Raiju. I'm pretty sure that's kind of around Raiju speed. Off the top of my head. New, the High Priestess Tarot card has received new functionality which should help with drawing one early, playing solo, and counter some of the risks involved with other cards. Let's have a look. So, okay, drawing this card when no one is dead will revive the next player who dies. Oh my goodness. That's good. So that will help you solo as well. That's a really good change. Because the card is quite rare as well. That is a really, really, really good change. Great for solo players, and also good in groups, because if you draw it early, obviously, and it's kind of a waste. I am a fan, because it's already a 1 in 50, so you don't get it very often. Changes. The Tower card and Voodoo doll pins can now force the ghost to interact with the ghost writing book, Dot's projector, and doors. I think that's great, instead of only interacting with the clutter. The Voodoo doll sanity drain has been reduced. Oh, I wonder why. Normal pins from 10 to 5. Heart pin from 20 to 10. I'm not a fan of that, because pins are limited. You often need it to drain sanity. I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest. The main purpose of the Voodoo doll for me is draining sanity to get hunts, which I think could be difficult due to the limited number of pins. I can see what they're going for, though. They're trying to let you do it with it not being as punishing, I suppose. Basically giving you more free interactions. I can see what they're going for, but I think the alternate use of this was good, which was getting hunts if you needed to drain sanity quickly, which might be a bit more difficult, but I suppose you can still drain a decent chunk, so it might not be too bad anyway. I kind of see where they're going for. I like that they're incentivizing you to try and get more interactions and giving you more opportunities for it. It is making the voodoo more useful, which is good, because you can't get ghost events, so... yeah, we'll see how that number feels anyway. Next we have grey ghost text will no longer appear in the journal when taking a second ghost photo, so it just won't count, I guess. You can't get a second. Ghosts will no longer turn on lights before smashing them. Alright then, they'll just smash them when they're off then, okay. Fixes, let's have a look. Let's go through them, we'll whiz through them. So fixed a bug where the voodoo doll was only working for the host. Fixed a bug where the ghost writing evidence interaction was not showing on sound sensors or the parabolic microphone. That's interesting, that's good to know that. So, okay, that could actually help you ID it from a distance. Interesting. Fixed a bug where solo players could use the spirit box and Ouija without pressing their voice key if push to talk was enabled. Honestly, people were telling me the other day that they could do this, and I was like, are you serious? Because I've always been holding push to talk, because that is how I remembered it. So, turns out it was a bug, after all. That's very good to know, because I always hold it anyway, out of muscle memory. Fixed a bug where the Hontu's freezing breath would be visible when the ghost wasn't visible, so that would have been a quick way to ID them. Fixed a bug where the Banshee would not set a new target until the next hunt if the target DC'd. Okay, that made them a lot weaker again, yeah. Fixed a bug where the Banshee was not changing target after killing a player in Nightmare. Oh dear, so, okay. Again, hampering it. Fixed a bug where drawing the tower card at the same time a hunt starts would cancel it. I think there were a few cursed objects that were cancelling hunts. See if there's more here. Fixed a bug where the Ouija board would not play sound on the first letter movement. Fixed a bug where the ghost could not turn on and off lights when the host was dead. Fixed a bug where other players' photo camera screens would turn on when they walked out of the truck. This is intentional for performance reasons. Ah, that's good to know. Fixed a bug where the ghost would sometimes still think you had a photo camera in your hand during a hunt if you dropped it, so I'm guessing that could have got a lot of people killed as well, in knockers and closets and stuff. Yikes. Fixed a bug where the ghost wouldn't notice you holding a photo camera during a hunt if the host was in the truck when you grabbed it. Okay. Fixed a bug where lightning only struck once during heavy rain, so that was a bug! Because I'd noticed that, I thought that was intentional, that it only happened near the start of each mission. That's good to know that it was a bug. So we're going to get deafened. That could be scary during hunts. You might not hear them coming if it does it more frequently at the right timing. Fix a bug where rain and snow would turn on and off when another player walked in and out of the truck. That's so funny. Fix a bug where lights in several maps did not play sounds or particle effects when smashed by a ghost. Yep, noticed that a lot. Fix a bug where asking to play hide and seek would restart the hunt if one already started during the countdown. Fix the bug where having equipment turned on in your inventory would speed up a Raiju during a hunt. Ooh, how many times has that got people killed, I wonder? Oh, fixed an issue where you could spam light switches to force the mayor's ability. They've done it, the mad lads. But okay, I wonder how they've changed it. How have they changed it though? I wonder. Because, fixed an issue. But it is part of the mayor's ability, so I think we need a bit of further explanation about this one, you know? Because it is part of their ability. They've not said if they've added a massive cooldown or something else. Like, it is still part of their kit, so what has changed? I'd quite like some more transparency about this one. Fixed an issue where some blocked hiding spots in Bleasdale and Grafton were stopping you from interacting with certain objects. Okay, a potential fix for the ghost not always showing in ghost photos taken by other players. Right, there you go. Pretty juicy, like, patch, isn't it, between the big updates. Interesting changes here. Very interesting changes. I still feel like the Banshee... I'll see how it feels, but I feel like it still needs a little more oomph. Maybe this is enough. Them draining a bit of extra sanity, but the Yore has that, you know? You know, like... Oh, I don't know. I don't know how I still feel about the Banshee. I feel like this one could be exploitable when people get the hang of it as well. About the Banshee only checking the target sanity. Shade. Good changes with the Shade. I think this one will be interesting. about how their Ghost Event chance increases as sanity drains. That's cool. Polty. What changed with the Polty? Lose a bit more sanity. For everyone, fair enough. Hantu sounds more scary. Gonna be interested to see the new Hantu. Yeah, love the High Priestess change. Voodoo. We'll see how the changes feel. I think you'll still be able to drain sanity with it decently. I think it's good that I guess they're trying to give you more interactions and let you use it more often. Just hope we have enough pins, I suppose. And yeah, we'll see about that mare one as well. See how that feels. Yeah, pretty good patch. Impressed. Nice one.